Steps and precautions for installing multi-beam solar wireless beam. Taking the example of 4-beam, open the packaging box. The standard package comes with an instruction manual, a set of iron fittings. Let's introduce some of the main components of the 4-beam system. This is a low-light type amorphous silicon solar panel. The light intensity on ordinary rainy days can charge the built-in battery of the beam. This is a horizontal pipe used to determine if the opposing installation is level. This is a digital display screen, only exists at the receiving beam, used to further verify whether the alignment is accurately calibrated. This is an infrared light hole. When any set of 3 infrared light holes at the opposite ends are completely blocked by an object, an alarm is immediately generated. This is the calibration hole, used for long-distance calibration. This is the power button. This is the charging interface, available with 5 to 12 power adapter. Charge and supply power to the beam. This is the built-in alarm horn, only exists at the receiving beam. When the beam is triggered, there is an on-site alarm sound. The duration of the alarm can be set when power on. Press 3 times to power on. The alarm time is 6 seconds. 4 times for 12 seconds. 5 times for 24 seconds. 6 times for 48 seconds, 7 times for mute. We can also use the product label to distinguish between transmitter and receiver beam. F is the sender, S is the receiver. The first step is to check whether the beam can trigger alarm. We have completed the pairing of beam and siren strobe. Press the white key on the back 3到7 times to power on. Let's take the alarm time of 6 seconds after 3 startup attempts as an example. After turning on, the indicator light will turn on, accompanied by 3B5 low voice prompts, mean that the beam is turned on normally. In addition, we can also verify whether the beam is in the power on state by pressing the power button. If it's a beep, indicates that the beam is already in the power on state. If it's a beep with 2 beeps, indicates that the beam is in a shutdown state. Power on the opposite beam in the same way. After the beam is powered on, align the beams and place them properly. If the beam works normally, about 15 seconds later, the indicator light on the receiving end starts flashing, and accompanied by 6 beep sound prompts. At this point, block any set of 3 infrared light holes with a thick object, and the siren strobe will make sound light alarm, indicating that the pairing work and alarm OK. Step R. Fix the iron fittings and installation brackets in place. Iron fittings include right-angle fittings, cross fittings, and 3 different specifications of fixing screws. Firstly, fix the cross and right-angle fittings with small screws. Be sure to tighten the 2 fixing screws. Please pay attention to the installation direction of the screws. If installed in the opposite direction, will affect the fixation of cross fittings and iron brackets. Use larger screws to fix the buckle and cross fittings onto the iron bracket. Be sure to tighten the 2 fixing screws. In the same way, secure another set of iron fittings. There are 2 different right-angle accessories for the shooting configuration. This is used to adjust the left and right direction of the beam. This is used to adjust the forward and backward direction of the beam. Be sure to use it together, and the protruding part of the right-angle accessory should be facing the same direction. Fix the iron fittings and mounting bracket on the other beam in the same way. After fixing the iron fittings, use medium-size screws to fix the docking bracket onto the mounting bracket. Be sure to tighten the 2 fixing screws. Please pay attention that the transmitting antenna is located at the top position of the beam. So when fixed beams, please ensure that the horizontal tube for beam is located at the top position to ensure that the wireless signal transmission capability of the beam is not affected, and try to fix the beam on the upper end of the iron bracket as much as possible. Step 3. Determine the installation position of the iron bracket. You can observe the water bubbles on the horizontal tube of the projectile, whether it is located in the middle position, to verify whether the installation of the target is level. Fix the iron bracket with screws. Ensure that the bracket is stable and not shaking. Check for water bubbles in the aiming horizontal tube. If it's not in the middle position, fine adjustments can be made by moving the screw fixing position of the right angle accessory for the forward and backward directions of the beam. Try to keep the iron brackets at both ends at the same horizontal height. The fourth step is to calibrate the beams. We suggest to calibrate the transmitter beam first, then receiver beam, because after calibration, there will be low beep sound prompts at the receiving beam, and the receiver beam also has a digital display screen. When calibrating the transmitter beam, through the calibration hole on the transmitter beam, overall fine-tuning of the front, back, left, and right positions of the beam. Ensure the opposite receiving beam at the middle position of the sight line of the calibration hole. After confirming the location, tighten the fixing screws in the left and right directions, as well as the front and rear directions, using the same method through the calibration hole of the receiver beam. Overall fine-tuning of the front, back, left, and right positions of the beam. Ensure that the opposite the transmitter beam is aligned with the center of the line of sight of the calibration hole, and observe the numerical changes on the digital display screen. Ensure that the value on the digital display screen is above 100. After adjustment, tighten the fixing screws. Ensure that the beam position no longer deviates. Prevent displacement of the beam position during the process of tightening screws. Please pay attention to the display screen of the receiving beam. It will automatically shut down after 1 hour of startup. To restart the digital display screen, you need to restart the beam. In addition, customers can also buy laser calibrator, used to assist in calibration work for beams. Step 2. Check whether the alignment is accurate by blocking the hole. Please note that, do not use hands or transparent objects to block the infrared light hole for detection. The correct detection method is to block it with a thick object. Blocking any two adjacent light holes will not triggering an alarm. Simultaneously block any adjacent sunlight holes will trigger an alarm. It means that the beam works properly. Inspect the opposite beam in the same way.